It's been one whole year since Mahindra launched their new BE and XEV products. This is the BE6 now. Of course, this is not a normal BE6. Sort of commemorate the 1 year anniversary. Instead of doing a normal special edition or anniversary edition, they've gone and done something really cool. They've gone and collaborated with Formula E. This is the world's first ever collaboration, official collaboration for a street car with Formula E. This is the Mahindra BE6 Formula E Special Edition, and it has some changes which the normal B6 does not have. Now, this is based on the Pack 2, not the top spec version, the mid spec version, so it does not have ADAS. This particular version does not get ADAS. It also gets a whole bunch of other changes which are completely different on this car as compared to any other special edition like the Batman edition or the standard BE6 that we've seen. So let's start from the front, then we move to the rear because that's where the really cool stuff is. But obviously we'll go to the interior as well. But let's start from the front. Now, you must be wondering what these lines are. There are 12 of them signifying the 12 seasons. Every single season of Formula E that there's ever been, Mahindra has been a part of. There have been 12 seasons. Each line signifies the 12 seasons of Formula E. It sort of matches what their race car livery for the next year, for the coming 2026 season is. You also get these completely new headlamp clusters. These are round, not the LED sort of slim LED sort of clusters that the BE6 had. The round stuff is because they wanted a more motorsport edition looking headlamp. Now remember, race cars in general have parts that you can quickly swap out, quickly change in case there is a bit of an accident or a bit of damage. So they wanted something a little more motorsport oriented. I would go and tint these yellow. How cool would that look? A nice classic vintage pair of yellow lamps on a modern car would look really, really cool. But anyways, round lamps, very, very similar by the way to what the Thar gets. If you're wondering, yes, very similar unit. And of course you get a slightly more muscular looking front guard on the bumper. But overall the BE6 still looks like the BE6, still very, very similar looking. Just these little changes which are different. I think let's move to the side now. So we get a new set of wheels, 20-inch now instead of the 19-inch the standard car gets, and you get this motorsport inspired motif as well. Now, these are not tire stickers that you get on so many other cars. People have been doing this stuff for a long time, but this car gets these as factory fitted tires with these painted in, which I think is a really, really cool touch. Not a fan of the wheels, obviously. When you want to do a motorsport edition of any sort, you do motorsport wheels, not aero wheels. So a nice set of crisscross looking or a 5-spoke or a 6-spoke T37 type wheel would have actually looked great. This, not a big fan of. Also a bit of a livery, again the stripes on the side, very similar to what the race car has. And on some cars you can get a little number here. So if you are one of the early buyers of the car, you will get a bit of a number on the car as well. Now, as I mentioned, first ever car to do a Formula E official collaboration, right? Now, Formula E is an FIA run event. It's a FIA run championship. It's a top level or top tier championship similar to what Formula 1 is, which is why FIA badge on this as well. Now, this again is something which is very, very rare. I don't think I've ever seen another car ever with an FIA badge on it. And by the way, it's not just this. You also get the FIA badge on the windscreen. And you get a Formula E, Mahindra Formula E team thing on the banner on the windscreen as well. Now remember, this is again not a sticker. It's actually infused into the glass. So if you touch it from the front or here or from the back, even from inside, you can't really feel it. It's actually inside the glass. It's impregnated in the glass. So if you actually get this damage, that might be difficult to change. Or maybe you can't get a replacement one. Maybe they have some in stock. Don't really know. Now, my favorite part of the whole car. Now for this, I'm going to have the camera go right in there, right dead center of the rear, okay? Now, look at this. First you get a spoiler, which is quite cool. Should have been carbon fiber, should have been slightly more larger maybe. Forget about that. The rear bumper, let's talk about that. Now in the standard car, the bumper sort of matches the wheel or the tire widths. Very normal on most cars, right? In this, it doesn't. There's a bit of a cut and a little accent piece here. Now this is of course a fake vent, it doesn't really do much. But this cut, what that does is exposes the rear tire. Now that reminds me of all the race cars from the 70s, from the 80s, all the old Porsches. Even the new Lamborghini Temerario, for example, which has this sort of exposed rear tire thing happening at the back. That, in my opinion, is the coolest part of a car. If you want to make something really motorsport inspired, that's the kind of stuff you do. That's cool. Not just adding like a racing stripe and calling it motorsport edition, that kind of stuff. A whole new rear bumper is what a proper way of doing a motorsport inspired edition is. And of course, you've got a bit of a diffuser at the bottom. And not only is this just a different bumper, but the bumper, the side panels, all of these are a satin grey paint. It's not just a plastic piece which is there in the normal standard B6. It's all been done very, very thoughtfully. But now we move to the inside, where there are some really cool parts that have never really been done on any car before. Okay, there are so many changes on the interior, I don't really know where to start. But let's start with the seats. Okay, I'm going to show you this seat in particular, because that's the closer to one to the camera. Now, obviously you get a Formula E and a B6 motif, but look at the seat in general too. Nothing's really symmetrical. There are these nice cuts everywhere. There are these arrows in the seat sort of geometry itself. Nice little use of Alcantara over here, nice little use of leather. And overall, it's just a well done seat, very comfortable as well. There is of course a lot of Alcantara all over. Very motorsport inspired in general. Let me get in the car. Still a little difficult to get in and out of because it is still a very sort of coupe-like roofline. But let me now talk to you about the smaller details they've done, right? You of course seen the seats. Let's talk about the carbon fiber panels here. Now obviously this looks like a bit of a cockpit. That's the theme they've always gone with. But instead of this sort of normal plastic, they've now used a printed carbon thing. This is not real carbon. Pratap actually said, the designer of the car actually said, there was a brief moment where they decided, you know what, screw it. Let's use actual carbon fiber pieces for the inside. But the cost was so prohibitive, it would not have made any sense. So what they did instead is they've taken their normal plastic and made it look like carbon. Now, this is one of the best representations of carbon fiber that I've seen in a long time. And frankly, what they should have done is just go a little bit step ahead and maybe made this gloss black panel carbon fiber too, but they've kept this as is. What they have done are add these small details. So you've got a little orange accent on the steering wheel to sort of show the center position. These little points are in orange anodized. And then of course you've got a little sort of aluminum plate here. You can't really see it, but you've got a little aluminum plate right here, which somebody can customize. Now, this one says Mahindra B6 Formula E edition. We saw another one with a signature of one of the drivers. And then you've even got a bit of orange on the key to sort of show that it is a slightly different car. But what people will love, what sort of the child in me likes is this. Come here. Like the Lamborghinis get, like fighter jets get, you get a little flip up switch which you can flip up, and then you can have the start button click on, or you can flip it down if you don't want it. But this is, again, it's something that you can get from Amazon and maybe put it on. But the way they've integrated this into the whole car is nicely done, because it sort of matches all the color points in the car as well. Now, not only is there a Formula E badge on the dashboard here, there is also a Formula E badge right at the back on the panoramic sunroof, if you can see there. And again, just like the stripes on the bonnet, there are some stripes right here on the roof as well. Overall, really well done, right? I'm not even done yet, because here in the door, this little panel, you can't really see it now because there's no light outside, but this panel is actually translucent, so you can see the back of the door, the structure of the door inside. Now, they sort of got that inspiration from Ather. They've been very honest about it. They said they loved what Ather did with the 450 Apex and actually used that as an inspiration to do the body panel, the door panel on this car. Frankly, I think that's a great little touch that they've done. It's not something that's common. It's not something that they're going to put into production on all the B6s, but this little bit is something that's really cool. Frankly, maybe a little backlit light or something would have been better, but they didn't want to go overboard with it as well. So there you have it, the interior of the B6. Everything else pretty much stays the same. Oh, you also have like these little details, like for example, look at this logo on the seat belt. They've really thought this stuff out. It's not a sticker job. The Batman edition, maybe you could say, was just like adding little bits and pieces and a little light on the roof, but this is a really well thought out special edition. Now, I know Formula E is not a very popular sport, but there are some fans of motorsport in general who will like this car. And unlike a lot of other motorsport oriented cars where they go a little bit overboard on the outside, this is not a little overboard. It's a little subtle, and you can make some few changes as you would like and actually improve it. In fact, Pratap has been very vocal in saying he actually likes it when people do changes to his cars and makes them theirs, because that actually means that there is a car culture around these products. So, as I mentioned, no ADAS on this, so there is a bit of a differentiation as compared to the normal Pack 2 car. And frankly, the price is not too bad either. The top spec version with all the bells and whistles in this spec with the 20-inch wheels on is about 24.5 lakhs, so about 26 lakhs on road, which frankly is not a very bad price for something that will definitely help you stand out a bit. Now, you've got different colors. You've got a black, which is right there. We're going to pan the camera quickly. And then, of course, you've got a white that's behind me, which is right here. So Tell me in the comments which color you would choose now. All the cars have subtle differences. So for example, the red car gets a white little accent piece here for the tow hook. The black car and the white car get orange accent pieces like you can see here. Similar around the headlights as well. But overall, pretty much similar cars. Tell me which one you would choose, and tell me frankly if you like the way Mahindra is going down the road with these special editions, because frankly there are more coming. Now a little bit of trivia right at the end. This look, this sort of design language is what was supposed to be the BE6 Rally, right? We've seen that as a concept a couple of years ago. This is what it was supposed to be, but instead of that they have done the Motorsport edition. Will this stuff come into production on a more mass market scale with the Rally variant? That remains to be seen. But as of now, this is what we get, and frankly, this is cool. By the way, just as a final parting note, this sort of design language. There was a little very cool sports car that could have been made in the past that never got made, that also Pratap had a hand in. Do you remember what it was? Had a very similar design language on that as well. Tell me in the comments if you remember what that car was. For now, adios, leaving you with some visuals of the Mahindra BE6 Formula E Special Edition.